Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. The one position in all of NFL preseason that really has that microscope under them is, of course, the backup quarterback, and there is no backup quarterback in the National Football League that is more important to their team than the Dolphins' backup, as the health of Tua Tagovailoa is very suspect at this point in his career. So in today's video, we're going to analyze Mike White. We're going to tell if he's going to have a good preseason or not. He really is the X factor for the Dolphins preseason. And we're going to determine, can he beat out Skylar Thompson and really make that Dolphins team confident that if something happens to Tua Tagovailoa, Mike White can step up and play very well. There's something funny that goes on with Mike White every single offseason. It really did start with the Dallas Cowboys. It carried into his Jet career, and it sadly has carried into his Dolphin career. And this news is that Mike White really struggles in training camp. He really struggles in the summer, and he really struggles in August for whatever reason. There was significant noise going into the season last year for the Jets, despite him having a good 2021 season, really bursting onto the scene, playing really well, having that incredible 38 for 45 game. Going into last offseason for the Jets, his jersey was already in the Hall of Fame. Yes, guys, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because Mike White in 2021 had the most completions in NFL history for a debut. So going into the 2022 NFL preseason, it was expected not only is Mike White the confident backup with New York for the Jets, but hell, maybe he could play just as good, if not better, than Zach Wilson in the summer leading up to the season. This, of course, did not happen. Mike White really struggled last offseason throughout the entire time. Even Chris Streveler ended up looking better than him in the preseason and in the summer. Now, this didn't matter too much, as Mike White ended up starting about 4 games for the Jets last year. He ended up going 1 for 3. And in his career, he has an 8 to 12 touchdown to interception ratio, 268 yards per game, which is very good on 62% completion percentage. Not bad, but of course that touchdown to interception ratio is not great. And this NFL preseason is so vital for Mike White to play well, as he really does have competition at the backup quarterback spot, as he's going to be competing with the last man to take a snap under center for the Dolphins. And I'm, of course, talking about Skylar Thompson. Not only did Skylar Thompson start a few games in the regular season, he went 1-1 in the regular season, 534 yards, 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions with a 57% completion percentage. He started in the postseason as well. Now, he really struggled, especially in the first and second quarter of this preseason game. He ended up going 18 for 45, 220 yards, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions, but I really like the heart, and it was a very valiant effort from Skylar Thompson. He did struggle. I think Mike White probably has a higher ceiling than Skylar Thompson, which is why I really look for him to take that backup role from Skylar Thompson. Again, Skylar Thompson is not as talented as a thrower of the football than Mike White is. Mike White is also a taller statured guy. He can make more throws on the field than Skylar Thompson can. Also, Mike White got a 2-year, $8 million deal. He's getting paid significantly more than Skylar Thompson. So, of course, the Dolphins expect him to be their backup quarterback. Now, first thing you notice about Mike White, especially really going back to his college days at Western Kentucky, Mike White's a guy who threw for 4,000 yards in his career in college twice. He threw for 37 touchdowns. You dial up the tape, he really does remind me of Aiden O'Connell in the sense that they have a very confident processor. They really do remind me of a Ryan Fitzpatrick as well. That confident processor and that overconfidence in their processor is going to make some of their performances look absolutely insane. When Mike White is fully dialed in, his pre-snap reads are really sharp. His post-snap reads are extremely quick no matter what. No matter if he's right or wrong, he's going to look absolutely incredible out there if he's right, as he did in his first start, which really did capture the imagination of not only Jets fans, but of NFL fans as well. But really going into some of his bad starts last year, of course, Zach Wilson did have a better record with the Jets last year. Now, of course, this is circumstantial. This wasn't necessarily Mike White's fault that he was losing games with the Jets last year. Nonetheless, he does have a tendency to turn the ball over, somewhat stare down his receivers if he can't move off of that pre-snap progression. Now, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think out of every single team in the National Football League, as I alluded to earlier in this video, I think it was vital for the Dolphins to bring in a better backup than Mike White. So if I was a Dolphins fan going into this preseason with all of the news surrounding Mike White in training camp, him really struggling with Skylar Thompson really creeping up on him for that backup role, I would really have no confidence going into this preseason for Mike White. But Mike White is a guy, he's not going to play well in practice. He's going to play well in the game, which is why you really want to see him play very well in this preseason. You want him to alleviate the stress of some Dolphins fans, as again, I know a lot of Dolphins fans are very justified in feeling like they should have gotten Andy Dalton. They should have gotten a guy who has a much higher floor and a much higher ceiling about them as a backup quarterback, as you don't want another lost season for the Dolphins with this incredible talent on offense. You brought in Devon Achane, who I love at running back, and you made moves in the offseason and last season at the deadline, including guys like Bradley Chubb to really shore up that defense. So you want this year to be the year for the Dolphins, and in my opinion, Mike White is going to play a factor in this year. Thanks for listening, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Mike White, and do you agree it is vital for him to ball out in this preseason? If you listen till the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Smack that like and hit subscribe.